Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Calcio guys. Except it's not Nick doing the intro because he's not here tonight, but you have myself, Gianni, along with Adriano over here, ready to talk some Calcio, and longtime friend and very special guest, Martino Puccio. Martino, how's it going, buddy?
Johnny, Adriano, and Nick, wherever you are, hello. Thanks for having me back on. Appreciate being on with you guys. Always lovely to have a chat and discuss about our clubs. And I say plural, right, Johnny?
Yep, because I am a weird motherfucker. That's why I'm just kidding. Think about it. Let's talk. Actually, let's not even think about it. Let's get into things. Basically, match day 9 happened today. A lot of games going on. Some games today, some games the past couple of days. Milan's recent game against Atalanta 1-1 and then Pisa 2-2, but they were competing recently. Like they're still in the discussion for the Scudetto race. What have been your opinions so far of Milan this season? Like expectations, performances, individual performances by players, so on and so forth. Allegri. There's a lot to talk about. Floor is yours, Martino. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess expectations heading into the season are always kind of strange with the transfer window because we see a couple of matches prior to the transfer window being finished. I mean, we had our sporting director, Tade, before the Lecce match talking about how Santi Jimenez could be gone, and he was the lone striker on the squad. So you really kind of have no idea when it comes to that sort of stuff, and the way Milan and a lot of other Serie A clubs operate these days. It's really difficult to gauge where they'll be heading into the season. I think only really like Napoli or Inter had things set in stone for the most part. As far as like expectations for me, I thought that, top 4 is really in the conversation for them. Anything Scudetto wise it's kind of heavy considering how last year went. And I know we just saw Napoli pull off what they did the year prior to that, but Milan still had question marks. Napoli, they kept some of that squad prior to that. Their core was good. Milan selling off Teo, Tijani Reinders, on top of just having a carousel of managers. It was difficult to kind of gauge, but when you sign someone like Allegri, regardless of talent on the squad, you're going to be competing and winning matches. And, it was just stupid first game, back-to-back seasons. Adriano knows this. It's just annoying. Milan always concede these stupid goals or these otherworldly goals that you're just like, that should never be happening to a professional team. Sometimes, the Bonazzoli goal is arguably goal of the year in the league, and that happens match day 1. Sometimes you're like, of course, but can't do anything about that. But that first goal in that game, frustrating. Only really conceding penalties as of late. De Winter was very unlucky against Pisa. But the second goal in that game, stupid. The goal against Atalanta, stupid. Just terrible marking, communication. And even with one of the best managers defensively in league history, they still struggle like that because the quality at the back is not strong. Gabbia is respectable. Tomori, I think, has been better than he has been in the past couple of years. But there is no, experienced center back that we could hang our hat on. Like someone like Simon Kjaer was so invaluable to Milan in those years when they started turning it around. I think they're sorely missing that still, and they haven't been healthy up front. When there's been players like, Jimenez and Pulisic starts off great, then he gets injured over the international break. Leao had his calf issue after the first match against Bari, and then Christopher Nkunku comes over. He's got to get back into match fitness, and then Santi Jimenez is missing the most big chances in the league. There's been a lot of inconsistency, but the results and where they are on the table, you ask Milanisti, I'm sure, Adriano, you could say the same thing. 3 or 4 points off the top, starting in November. And funnily enough, and I'll say this as a final point before we have a discussion here, they play once a week, but the schedule's been insane. They have played a lot of the top teams so far, and even some of the tougher mid-table sides, and even this one against Roma upcoming very soon. It's crazy. How are they playing one match a week where they get 3 days of rest? All of a sudden they have to play Atalanta, and then they turn around and play Roma after they just host Pisa at home. Again, obviously already playing Napoli and Juve. Juve away. Udinese away is always difficult. Like even the matches against the lesser sides, Lecce away too. Like I know I sound ridiculous. It's Milan.
No.
There can be excuses, but these are notoriously annoying games. And outside of some poor finishing, unlucky finishing, I think results have been fine for the most part. There's been 2 results that I think we could all agree are unacceptable at home at San Siro. That's Cremonese and Pisa. Even though Pisa is much better than what 20th place shows, it's just inexcusable. You never want to see anything like that, and you regret dropping points like that when you see Inter lose to Napoli and Juve struggling and so on.
Yeah, and just to continue adding to your point, like it's just in case listeners are not aware. Basically, you guys started off like you're playing against majority of the Sette Sorelle like early on in your season. Juve, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Roma's coming up, the Napoli game, which you guys did win. So at least that was a very, very huge win for you guys. And for non-big Serie A fans, like Cremonese is like not a team to be pushed around with. Like not to mess around with. Sorry, like. They're 8th place right now. It's crazy how
they were. Not to cut you off, they were actually unlucky a few years ago when they came up. I don't know if you guys remember. Like, they were just just losing games or either drawing them in really unlucky fashion. That was the team who made the Coppa Italia semifinals.
Who was their striker again that was on fire? I think they had oh my god.
The names escape me now, but
right? But I remember there was a striker that.
But that's
yeah,
they've been respectable. They're not really like so scared of it. So and then they've been really good this year. When they played against Como, I believe it was recently, I thought they put in a good performance. And
who are in 5th place? You know what I mean? Como 5th place.
I mean their project's incredible, but it's just the way Milan is, man. It's always turbulent. It just can't be smooth sailing. Always, like even when they're competing, scratching and clawing. Napoli, Inter win the league. Those back-to-back years, they're like historically dominating. If Milan do it, they have to scratch and claw. Like it's just the only time where they won it relatively early. I think was 2010, 2011. So like they're just never normal. 21st century is just the most obnoxious like thing to go through. Like it's just very. You think they're playing well, and then they get all these injuries. And it's not even their fault. They're all on the international break. None of them are within Milan's like training sessions. Be like, it's Allegri or like Conte, with Napoli, like his training sessions are harsh. And it's like, no, like we're just sending these guys away and they come back either incapable of playing or they have this knock. Like Loftus-Cheek has muscle fatigue. How is that possible? This guy doesn't play enough. He didn't play with England. How is he fatigued? Rabiot, he played in a game, but he's hurt. Nkunku playing a game, big toe hurt. How does this happen? Pulisic plays in a game that he shouldn't have played in. All my fellow Americans attack me for it and saying like, I don't know what I'm talking about, as if I don't like watch both closely. It's just annoying. It just really is. Like they just can't get that consistency. And then Arden Yashadi too. Like how did this guy like breaks his fibula and he can't even play a match for us? Like our 2 most expensive signings have started 0 games for Milan. And their top 3 signings all combined have started 2 because Ricci just got in the lineup. It's just, this is the way it goes. It's just never smooth, but yet not too far off.
Yeah, not too far off, Martino, and I totally agree with the points. And I happened to bump into Marcello, president of Milan Montreal, our presidente here, yesterday in Italy, and we're just shooting the shit and talking, and it's like, yes, we're not far off. Personally, just by looking at the schedule, like you add the win against Cremonese because I think that needs to be a win. I'm sorry, like I don't want to hear the excuses. That needs to be a win. The Pisa game, I'm sorry guys, it needs to be a win instead of the draw. So you add just those. And I would even throw in the Juve game personally because Juve has been looked awful.
I said miss PK,
yeah, right. Like there's things that, okay, you know what, you want me to accept and kind of swallow that pill, fine, I will. But you add another 4 points, and what are we? We're in first place. Like it's these marginal errors, Martino. Like, and just like I do, by watching the team week in and week out, it's these marginal details where one thing can change, and we're no longer dropping from first down to fourth in the span of what, 2 week match days, 3 match days, where
5 days, yeah.
yeah, like 5 days, not even a week. We stay on first place and maybe build off a bit of a lead. And now, not to be doom and gloom, but it's frustrating. It really is frustrating because I think a lot of the issues or the talk around this team is self-inflicted. It becomes something that's self-inflicted, and besides barring the injuries that you name, and that's kind of out of our control, and we can have a
Yeah.
whole other podcast for that at another time. But what we can control and why we're in the positions we're in, it's all self-inflicted, or most of it I would say is self-inflicted, in my opinion. So
The goals
but
conceded are just, to
yeah,
quote Simon Kier, all we do is concede shit goals. The
yeah,
Fiorentina goal, for them to tie it up, like that was, I don't even know what that was. It was embarrassing. It was bouncing off of multiple guys. Tap in. Napoli, it's a penalty that should have, like, Estupinian making a moronic mistake.
yeah.
I believe there was another penalty as well that they conceded in September. I'm drawing a blank on who it was against, but like they're just dumb. Like the second goal against Pisa, like how is that like possible? Like when I see like players fall down, Fofana doing what he's doing, just I don't want to curse but like I
No.
don't understand this shit. It's
Yeah.
it's exhausting because they're professionals. This isn't like, oh, like you're playing up against Pep's Barca or the elite of the elite Serie A teams that we've seen. Like these are just so avoidable for professionals. Like even yesterday against Atalanta, how are Tomori and Fofana in that situation where these guys are lacking in communication skills?
Ball
To
watching.
pick up one
Ball
of the
watching.
best players, one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Like that's what infuriates me. Even last year too, like we're leaving Capocannoniere winners wide open in the box, unmarked. Pavlovic late in the Cremonese game.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so fundamental because the funny thing is I didn't grow up playing this sport, right? I played a lot of basketball. Okay, you have to know where your man in the ball is at all times,
For sure.
and that's an elementary thing taught. I don't understand how it evades professionals so often. So often, this ball watching, and it's got to be frustrating. And I got to give credit to Allegri for not losing his cool because he does lose his cool often. When he talks post match, you kind of understand the sense. He's like, "It's okay. We survived this. We have to understand like the Napoli game, like they were suffering." I was so proud after that Napoli game because of like how they avoided a defeat or even a draw in that one. You're like, okay, maybe this team has something. And then they do the results that they get recently. And you're like,
Yeah.
I know these happen during the season, but like this, to me, it's sort of like a trend because it's happened in the previous seasons and the one where you just finished 8th place. So that's hard to like shake it off. It's PTSD.
No, absolutely. I just like kind of like to move off this topic and kind of move forward, Martino. Obviously with Allegri coming in, and he's kind of been the master, obviously in the league. We know his track record, right? Obviously has history with the club, and what do you because I see on our end here in Montreal, the Milan needs to hear in our chat, and obviously you go online and you guys do great work on your end, Milan Weekly Podcast, other content creators, Kush and stuff like that. But what do you make of just the formation, the tactics? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you make of it? Because if I can say what I think is, I know Allegri's notorious for putting players out of position and trying to make that work. Personally, I don't see we're lacking goals from strikers, forwards, right? Like obviously Leao goes on these little runs and he has good performances, and I'm a fan of Leao. I'm not a fan of putting these players in positions where they're not going to succeed at their fullest. I just want maybe your opinion on that. Is the 3-5-2 the way to go? Like, what's your overall thought?
This is the whole problem with this. Is like a bigger discussion that could only be a podcast. Like Matt and I do this all the time.
Yeah,
where this isn't an Allegri thing. This is a management thing. This is a revolving door of them not having a sporting director in the Redbird era after they sacked Maldini. This is no consistency of a plan. This is you win Supercopa in January. Well, we go back to like Fonseca. Fonseca wants certain players. He says he likes Alexis Salamakers. They loan out Salamakers to Roma. And then, like they sack the manager and let him talk to the press right after that. They don't address any of it. Then in January, they go on this spending spree. They immediately sell some of the players that they had bought in the summer. And they make these big money purchases for a manager in which they didn't even guarantee him to stay on past June and May in Conceição. So their plan is lacking severely. Late into the window, like I had mentioned earlier, they're talking about Santi Jimenez going, and there's rumors of like Allegri wants Vlahovic. He wants his guy in there, and he's not getting that. He's only really gotten Rabiot out of all the players that like we have rumored to have been deemed that he wants. And you're kind of sitting there saying to yourself, okay, what's the plan? And there is no plan. I don't think there is. I think that they're trying to bridge the gap with a lot of players and talent, and their goal, as always, is to just make top four to get their money because the owner doesn't want to invest capital and can't invest capital in the club. And this has just been all over the place. They don't make sense. They want to play a 4-2-3-1 system last year and the year prior, and they buy guys who are not naturalized defensive midfielders. Loftus-Cheek and Reinders are playing in a double pivot next to each other. This goes before Allegri. Yep. Allegri, I think he saw his squad and what he was given, and he said, shit, I can't do back four with this. Who is my right back? What right back do I have? He doesn't have one. Who's he supposed to play? Athakame? No. Alexis Salamaker is very successful at the right wing back position. Left wing back, yeah, I don't have the players. Estupiñán can maybe do that, but I have a bevy of midfielders. I could play three there instead of just, if he plays two, if he's stuck with a 4-2-3-1, who's he playing at the 10? They don't have a 10. Is it Nkunku? Maybe. But then, like I mentioned to Matt and everybody else all the time, all right, you go to 4-2-3-1. It's Modric paired next to a Richie or whoever else. You pick your midfielder. And then who are the four attackers? The only four attackers in the squad. So you're going to be playing them every single week is what you're telling me, regardless if it's once a week or not. Yeah. You cannot do that. It's impossible to succeed like that. We got these guys injured and they weren't even playing with us. What would happen if they did? I just don't think he's been given the tools for the players that he likes. And if he wants to get a player in, they have to sell someone in order to do that. And they're missing Europe entirely through a monkey wrench and everything because they just had to sell players to stay afloat. Malik Chow is someone that had been rumored that Allegri wanted to keep. And I thought he could have been good in a back four. Back three is a different story. But, they see 40 million in their faces for a guy who's inconsistent and not playing well. They have to take it. Why? Because it's Italy. They don't have money. They don't have money. And Allegri is basically having to play this style, which they were playing well before all these injuries. So I cannot rip Allegri because everyone likes to do this. Oh, Allegri ball, it's boring, this or that. No, they eviscerated Udinese. They were playing well against Napoli before the red card. They were putting pedal to the metal, and that's without Leao. That's without Nkunku doing anything. And Santi Jimenez missing every chance possible. So for me, the formation, because I know what you're thinking. In the back of our heads, sure, Scudetto's cool, this or that. Everyone and every supporter for this club wants number 8 in the Champions League. That's what everyone thinks about. And we know the way Allegri plays and the players that they have, they're not even close. They're not even remotely close to getting there. And I think that's where my frustration comes from because they were kind of close or at least moving in that direction. And you get pulled back and knocked down a bunch of pegs despite this financial health that you brag about. So I get irritated by it, and you could point fingers at the people who play and manage the team, but the reality is they have really poor leadership that nobody knew how to do their job. And I talked to people at the club or people who used to work there as well. There is no what does Zlatan do? Zlatan works for Redbird, but he's working for Milan. He talks about being invested in deals like he was the main guy who got Morata over to Milan in the first place. So it's are you a director? Are you this guy who's making funny quotes? What is your role here? That's not defined. Forlani is supposedly has final say on all these decisions. A guy who has no experience in this industry in terms of sports. He has no background. He's a financial guy, which is like fine to an extent. But, you know, when it was Gazidis, Maldini, Masara, you knew what their roles were. And even Moncada, everybody had their roles, their positions. Everyone knew when they were able to talk, when they were not. Gazidis was CEO. Maldini and Masara were both the directors, and then Moncada's chief scout. There's a pecking order. There's a hierarchy. It all made sense. Now, Milan, at least a little bit better with Allegri and Tare, it makes sense of where everybody is and what they're supposed to do. But, you know, the mistakes made of the previous couple of seasons still affect now. This is not like something that just appeared out of nowhere. They were 8th place. I don't know how much you remember when we were kids, but like that was the worst Serie A season. Relative to expectation, that was the worst Serie A season for Milan. I don't care like when Inzaghi was managing Seedorf. Like I knew they were going to be shit. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That was inexcusable, especially when they're like banging at the drum. Hey, we got another article from Calcio Fanazia of Milan's got record profits. I don't give a shit. We just were 8th. What does that matter? That's the stuff. And I know I got a little away from the tactics, but how can you worry about tactics when everything else is in chaos? Because you can't build anything when you have no foundation. And maybe there's some semblance of it now, but I look at the center backs and I say, no, that's not good enough. This isn't enough. So, yeah, I mean, what do you want them to go to? Maybe a 4-3-3, I guess, would be the only other formation we try. It's exhausting, you know?
Yeah, and I honestly like looking at Milan, you know, Allegri is doing Allegri things where you guys have only conceded 7 goals in 9 games. Like Millian has been great, obviously. It's because it's Magic Mike, right? We can't complain about that too much. But like he is for what he
7 goals, and I think 3-4 of them have only happened in the last like 5 days, no?
Yeah. Because I get the notifications on my Fanta Calcio every time because I have Magnan and Leao on my Fanta team, but that's just for giggles. But I do see the frustration in this because you know Allegri is a top manager. He's won many Scudetti, and I know that people are going to say like, okay, like I like to argue that like he invested a good Juventus from Conte, but he still had to continue that, and he took the 2010-2011 Milan into their championship win that year.
And he got unlucky to not win the second one. He was very unlucky that season. They did not have any money or financials. He lost all of his players. He lost one of the best center backs of a generation, one of the best strikers of a generation. He still made Champions League the next year, which I know was a miracle because Mexico scored on Siena, but like,
but still,
I'm just a little bit like this is more of a me thing, I guess. I'm asking. I'm a little bit baffled. So you think Milanisti are aiming more for the 8th Champions League title versus a 20th Scudetto to tie with Inter to get that second star? Do you think maybe that's more within the vision board right now?
I think think mostly what Milan fans want to see is new ownership above anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. that goes without saying.
Listen. The reason why I'm so proud to be a fan of this club is European success. Domestic success is great, but when Interisti always talk about all those things, they won multiple league titles under Mancini and Mourinho. They've won under Inzaghi and Conte, and I understand the one under Inzaghi was big. It was the second star. It was against us. I get it. But you know what they don't shut up about, and rightfully so, is the treble. Why? Because they won the Champions League for the first time in like 5 decades or so. Sorry, it's been only once in 5 decades. My mistake. They've had it. But you know that was the biggest thing. What keeps Juventini up at night?
Losing the Champions League finals.
It's losing the Champions League.
Yeah, but they've won 36 Scudetti. That's the thing for
and yet that exactly my point. They've won it more than anyone else has. I don't know but 36 is the correct one. Some of them like to say 38.
Yeah, they say 38.
The Stronzi think it's 38.
I know, yeah. But like
it could even be 34. We never know, you know.
But like, you know, Scudetti are supposed to come in time, and like, you know, leagues are Milan is bizarre with leagues. When Milan win leagues, Serie A is great. It's really good.
When both Milan, sorry for interrupting, but I feel like it's when both I know Inter's rivals, but when both Milans are like top of the table fighting for the league.
It is, but like even when Inter was winning, like Milan's been dysfunctional. They won They won one. I don't even know how they won that one, to be honest with you.
That was a fun game day,
They've
though.
been dysfunctional. Inter's been on this, like, even if it's been slow at time, this trajectory has been upwards for them for a very long time. We've only finished ahead of them maybe like twice. Since, I don't know, maybe 2015, it might have been only one time. And that's the thing that, like, people are forgetting. Like, Inter, when they won, like, you know, Juve got relegated, Milan had those points deductions. You know, Inter's like winning swimmingly, like no problems. Juve, when they're winning in the 2010s, Milan and Inter both suck. When Milan becomes good, SerieA is the greatest league in the world. And it's like, that's just like a timing thing. So, like, for me, like, Scudetti are like great, but like, we're also winning the biggest trophies. We're going deepest into the Champions League, like, constant. Like, to me, like, the era that we grew up in, and Adriano knows this, like, this isn't right. And it's not because, oh, like, it was our childhood and like this. No, like, like, we've seen Inter make a couple Champions League finals. We've seen Juve make a couple Champions League finals. Milan, it's one semifinal in God knows how long, and since 2007. It's getting knocked out against an inferior Roma on paper in the Europa League. It's stuff like that. Like, you get, like, it's just falling short everywhere. Coppa Italia, it's been over 20 years. Some people give a shit, some don't. Scudetti, right, Johnny? You win this year, right? Okay. If Napoli win this year, I'm talking the Napoli side of you. You would have seen what? 3 league titles, correct?
Yeah, I would have seen 3.
Our math is correct here.
Yeah, for Napoli specifically 3. Yes, I've seen 3 total so far.
Whatever. 2000 when Gladiator came out. So 3,
I know,
right?
Yeah. Continue.
But, like, think about it. A Napoli fan my age and Adriano's age has seen the same amount of Scudetti as a Milanista, consciously remembering, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're in your early 30s. I don't remember in the late 90s. I'm not going to lie to you, right? So it's like when Kaká came, 2010, 2011, and then 21, 22. That's it. It's just 3 times. So, yeah, I care about the 8th Champions League. That's the most important thing. Because, like, that's when you think of Milan and your ultimate goal, like, you're a Pats fan, right?
Yeah.
Pats make the playoffs this year. Oh, that's nice, cute story. What do we want? We want to, it would be a 7th Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, 7th Super Bowl.
You give a shit about that.
Yeah,
it's not
of course.
about these, like, other things.
But I also understand, like, and this, I'm doing this in defense of Milan, by the way. Please don't think of me as antagonizing.
No.
I also understand the limitations of, for example, if let's use the Patriots, for example, because Adriano is also a Pats fan. Like, if they make the playoffs, that's going already beyond our expectations. Because I'll be honest with you, I thought the Pats were going to be 7-9 this season. So far, they're 6-2. But, like, we have, because we know the limitations of what's going on within the team itself. And given Milan, you know, like, you just mentioned it perfectly. Financials is very big. Igliatare, like was notorious at Lazio for not really spending any money. He was more or less a bit of a penny pitcher looking for.
He was handcuffed by fucking Lotito, no?
Yeah,
true.
Shit owner, yeah.
But like also like with comments from Cardinale today recently that Martino brought up on Twitter. We're gonna get to that in a bit because I want to expand a little bit on that. Like Milan is like it is in also a tough situation. Like Juventus was also in a tough situation, you know, like financially, you know, like they have to, like, there's some
Juve still break like transfer records that Milan haven't broken in 20 years. And a Juve fan could go like in their couch in between the cushions and pull out 30 million.
Yeah,
that's what they do. Like, it's just
because they're fudging their numbers, right?
They're massaging those numbers a bit too nice, I think. I don't know.
Listen, they're a richer Milan. They're just as dumb. They're just as dysfunctional, but they have more money to spend. The wage bill's nearly double. It's like hilarious when I see that stuff, and people are like, "Well, it's not really about the wage." Yes, it is. It matters.
Yes,
let's not play stupid here.
Yeah, you
have more money than God. Than anyone in this league, the resources. What do you think Napoli couldn't come close to you? Napoli's like in close to 90, however many points under Sarri that year. Why did Juve win? Why? Because Juve can go and drop 90 million on your best player and take him from you in the league. Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah.
So Milan, again, Rui Costa is the record transfer. What else do I have to say? Napoli have beaten that. Napoli have beaten that multiple times. Napoli. No disrespect.
Yeah.
But, like, if we're really talking about it here, Inter, when Suning had money before COVID happened, how many times were they smashing the record? Milan do this thing, and Adriano knows this, where it's like, we'll barter around in the 20 to 25 million area. These guys could be good or they could not be. But I know one thing. When Juve buy Higuain, they know he's great. Why? Because he's done it everywhere. When Inter buy Hakimi, He was good at Dortmund. He's a Real Madrid guy. They buy Lukaku. We know that. Milan, it's like, let's roll the dice. Santi Menez. How about you? Come on down, buddy. Like, can you do what we want as the Milan number 9? We wear 7. But you know what I'm saying here? Like, they never do this thing. And they spent all this money over the summer. Like, what? It's 75 million between Nkunku and Yashadi.
It's
Those are
almost
just
80.
those
Oh no,
two.
it's almost 80 million, right? Yeah.
For those two, yeah. Just for those two, right? Use an example. Yashadi had one season in the top flight in Club Brugge. He could be good. I don't know yet. Nkunku, I knew immediately once we bought him, I'm like, where's this guy going to play? And he's like close to our record signing. Like, this is the shit that's just like enough. And they wouldn't like cough up money for Leone. I get it. He got injured. But it's just like,
but that's,
come on, man. Like, this is Milan. Like, I understand if you straight up tell your supporters, like Maldini did, like, this is going to take a while. We have to play in the Champions League. We have to qualify for it. We can make some investments. But, like this whole like back and forth of like, will they or won't they? We got fringe top young prospects, because 35 million is really for a top prospect these days. Like, look how much money like Endrick goes for, all these other top guys. Like, the tier that Milan are fighting for with players, they just don't have it, man. Realistically, like, look how long the Yashadi negotiations go for.
Oh my god,
like, it's a telenovela every time, man. Like, it's no other club has this. I mean, Juve to an extent, but like, what other big club that boasts about financials has to go through this bullshit? Nobody does. This is what we're sick of. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's the same thing, man. That's why you can't get any closer, because, Wirtz sucks at Liverpool right now. But like, they win the league. They're like, oh yeah, we're going all in. We're pushing our chips a little bit further. Milan, they don't do that. They spent on one player after they won the league title. Like, are you kidding me? Who does that? And it was of course he's a flop in De Ketelare. Like, it's just infuriating, because when Milan are ready to take the next step and they don't. It's like they go back, shoots and ladders. They go down the chute and they have to start over again. It's the most obnoxious club to root for out of all the big clubs in the world. There's no doubt. Maybe United.
Well, I mean, you touched upon about just like terms of finances and stuff, but like free transfer being like Modric, for example. I mean, I know like a lot of these things you've been talking about has just basically been 4 quarters for $1 instead of actually spending money on like a quality player. But Modric, especially with Leao being probably like the biggest linchpin of the Milan squad for the past 6 seasons.
Yeah.
year 7 now, I think.
Year 7. Like, do you think that every once in a while something like that, despite the financial situations, could happen? Like I don't know how to like phrase the question.
When a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah,
broken clock is right twice a day.
Do you think, honestly speaking, now just reinforces this habit of just bargain bin hunting? You know what I mean? Like
where they get lucky for once and like a guy just like exceeds expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Like, if Camarda like actually is like the prodigal son, like, can that happen? Can that happen for us, please? Like Inter Bastoni, like, smash, like, incredible signing, one of their best. Barella, like, no doubt, like, they take Hakan on a free. Like, Modric is 40, as good as he's gonna be. Like, it could be this year. He has an option for next. Like, Leao was like that blue chip talent that they can roll the dice on. They had more depth than even who's a depth player that's better than Ante Rebic right now? When Rebic was playing at his best at Milan, there isn't. There are not many. When Rebic was good and giving a shit, I don't know. Yashadi may be that guy. We haven't really seen him yet. I would hope to God that he could show levels to it. I think someone like Bartesaghi has been relatively impressive. He's still a 19-year-old kid, playing well enough in some really big games. Like, he's like, to not be completely awful. Like, what was it, Marianucci, right, against Milan, right? Is that the Napoli kid?
Napoli kid, yeah.
I believe, yeah. So like, when he's a deer in the headlights, he looks terrified and stuff like that. Bartesaghi is like, he's growing from that. And sometimes you do just know when a kid has something or when a younger player like, okay, this will be good. Like Leao scores against Fiorentina, his first ever goal. You're like, whoa, who is that? How good is this kid actually? Sucic today for Inter, that goal was incredible. You're like, that kid is going to be good. And Inter got another player like that. Boni's been terrific. Milan, it's sort of like Santi Menez starts off relatively strong and then disaster. Christoph Piontek starts off strong. Guy's pooming his way over to like Turkey. Like 3 months after that. It's not even like bad luck. It's just they're poorly ran. And they're mixed with bad luck too. I mean, like Andrea Conte, Caldara. Like if we go back to that, people are like, oh, these suck. They're flops. Like, bro, they shattered their ACLs in training. They snapped their Achilles doing nothing. Like
they never had a chance to even get going. Yeah,
that sets you back for years when you invest like shit like that. De Ketelare, like as much as I defended the guy, it's over 30 million. The guy, like, we're not even saying like, okay, this transfer didn't work out. He didn't reach the expectations we wanted. He's not even close. He's not even mediocre. He's
one assist.
Straight ass. Awful.
Yeah.
Absolute ass.
Yeah, the
absolute cinema.
Absolute.
But like that's like the stuff.
But then he goes to Atalanta and just all of a sudden performs like outworldly, you know, like not outwardly, but like
a club that has stability and a decent enough system. Yeah. It's kind of just stuff like that. It's missing out on like players when they could have had a little bit more money, a little bit more aggression, a little bit more ambition, right? Like Enzo Fernandez, Sven Botman. These guys were close. They wanted to come to Milan. They're like, I don't know. I think we want to spend money over here on someone that won't work out. Julian Alvarez, January. He was literally available. He could have been Milan's like number 9 for the future. They had the money. They knew they were making the Champions League. Jared Cardinale and Redbird were like, no, we're not giving you the money, Maldini. He goes to Manchester City. Like, it's stuff like that. Like, they even miss out on the blue chip guys when they're really close to them. It's just infuriating. So I don't know if that answered it. It's just you're making me angry.
No. Sorry.
I think it's been a bit of a blessing to have Modric, honestly, because this guy just continuously works at a rate that it's almost embarrassing, Martino, for some of our younger players to have to watch a 40-year-old. And listen, he could be 40, he could be 50, he could be 20, and this guy plays like he's
I've never seen anything like it.
It's incredible, right? Like the class, the elegance, the will to still fight at that age. It's incredible. But some of these younger players, and I'm me personally, I'm hopeful for Ricci. Like I want to see him continue to grow. Just as obviously being an Italian, you want to see him do well. But the biggest thing for us, like we can potentially. Because before this last little bit, like we were pretty solid defensively. Like I thought, like wow, like Allegri came in, he really emphasized defensively, and like because the last 2 seasons, I think we had like record goals against. Like it was like absolutely absurd, the amount of goals we were leaking. And mind you, that Scudetto year, we had one of the better defenses, and what happened?
It was only good in like the final few weeks. They were like kind of inconsistent.
But they were at the top, if I'm not mistaken. No?
Oh yeah, no, because like they're from like March until the end of the season. They weren't. It was Kalulu and Tomori just like playing lights out.
Yeah.
It was just difficult to penetrate them. But that was great midfield protection too.
Yeah.
And it was like Tonali, Benacer, and Kessie all healthy. That was balance. Yeah. Milan didn't have that balance. This is a better midfield, but again, like when you lose Rabiot arguably been an MVP for the team. Like,
love him or hate him.
Playing pretty well prior. Milan like a little inconsistent those 2 games before he started. Comes in to start. You just see it. The coverage is everywhere. He's not Kessie like that, but just it's like the little things. So Stupinian wants to push up. He wants to create. Rabiot's there. He's staying on the side. Modric wants to push up, create a little bit. Rabiot's covering. So yeah, I mean, like it's. I think Milan need to get healthy. I think they are going to be really difficult to defeat for a lot of teams, but they got to be healthy to do it. And I swear, man, like if you can't be healthy in a year in which you play once a week, then there's no hope.
Yeah, we're screwed.
In general, I don't know how you can't like not stay healthy like this. It's infuriating. We'll see. Rabiot and Pulisic could be back soon. I know Yashari is back in training this week. So there's some hope on the horizon. We'll see what happens Sunday against Roma because it kind of looks like I'm not sure if I'm jumping the gun here, Johnny, but like if we were to even pull out a result against Roma, I think it's a win, considering how we've been playing, the absences that we have, and where Roma have been. I think a draw, I would actually welcome that, because it's been that difficult for the club.
No,
I mean,
we need a win, Martino. We need it. There's no excuse.
I
need a
know
win.
we need. I listen.
We
I
need
want
a
to win
win.
every game, but
No, but regardless of what it is, we need to win, because honestly, in my opinion, it's an early season make or break a game. Like
I agree.
we've gotten a win against Napoli, and we're talking about direct competitors, right? Like we haven't played Inter yet, coming to 23rd of November. We got 4 points out of a possible 6 between Napoli and Juve, which arguably, like I said earlier, I think should have been 6 out of 6, but that's just my biased opinion. You can call it what it is. I think Sunday, for me personally, it's a must win, like especially because it burns me the way that we lost points against Pisa, and I'm sorry, even yesterday. Lookman. Okay, you know what? I put my hands up. He's a great player. I don't know. I saw Fofana literally walking in the box.
100%.
Literally walking.
They had nothing. Fofana hit it well. I mean, sorry, Lookman hit it well, like you're alluding to. That was all Milan. Milan allowed that. That has nothing. What did Lookman do in that besides like, oh shit, they didn't notice?
Yeah. Obviously, okay, it's a great shot. He beats Magnan on the from a short angle there, or a tight angle. But it's, I don't know, like arguably that could have been a win, or So again, to my point earlier, like these little mistakes is what costs us things like that, and that for me, in turn, puts Sunday's match against Roma as a must win. It has to be a win. Like I wouldn't like a draw. Okay, we'll take the draw, fine, but I don't know. For me, it's a must win. We have to go into the because who do we have after Roma? Is it the international break, or we have another team? We have Parma. So we have to go into the international break. Martino, two from 2,
and I
six
think
out of 6.
And I think Parma's away. So I agree. Listen, don't get me wrong. Your goals, like what we should expect.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I really just talk about what I think will be happening just in general. You know what I mean? Like you know the stuff we do. Like for me, it's like I'm pissed, bro. If you don't get 3 points against a side that I think we should beat, or like if we're at home, Juve, like listen, sometimes I'll be like, all right, I took a breath. Result away to Juve, worst thing in the world. And then I see Pulisic fucking send it to Mars. I'm like, that mother, like that pisses me off, man.
Yeah.
And it's like that shouldn't happen, because I still replay games from years ago, that like over 10 years ago, that you're like, are you serious? Like you gotta get over that. I'm like, no, like this annoying. It's annoying because I'm not trying to bring up the show right now, but every time I'm watching Milan, and I got to see a lot when I was a kid, but it really is like the Sopranos opening line about I got in at the end when the good days were over. When I'm fully able to watch all these matches week in, week out, and fully consciously remember Milan, bro, that was at the back end of that era. When I'm allowed to watch everything as like a late teens, like I was 12 when they won the Champions League. Like, yeah, sure, I remember everything. Like it's great, but like it's like week in, week out. What are these guys saying? What are the newspapers saying? Like you're fully invested. It's a completely different fandom, and it's just it irritates the hell out of me because. Rise of social media, we suck. Everybody over here, I'm not sure what Canada's like. You guys have like a lot more like Serie A fans, I think, in general, than what we got over here. Like I'm walking down the street, and, like there's a guy in like a PSG kit. I'm like,
it's frustrating.
It's so annoying, and it's no disrespect or anything like that.
No,
but it's just like
so
back in my day, bro. Like you have,
it's funny you say that. So like, because like in the high schools, right? So I remember because like I'm not too much older than you, Martino. I'm 33, right? Like so I've seen like I know exactly the era of Milan you're talking about, and I remember going to school and on dress down days, people like instead of wearing school uniform, a lot of people wear soccer jerseys, and like the amount of Milan jerseys you would see, Inter and Juve, like the big 3 you would see, right? Yeah. I was the one weirdo kid in an old Roma jersey that I had, but just for jokes. But
sounds about right.
But the amount of Milan jerseys, especially when they won in 07, right? When they won in 07, like the first dress down day that occurred, Minchia, the whole fucking school was almost like lit up in Milan jerseys. Nowadays, with kids wear dress down days, if they're wearing soccer jerseys, PSG,
Barcelona,
Barca, Real, Liverpool, like it's all these like, yeah, they're all Champions League clubs, but it's all like, it seems so like, I don't know how to explain it. Like the players are wearing the jerseys for the players. They're not wearing the jerseys for the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a player's world now.
Yeah, it's like not a team world anymore. It's a players
world. Have more followers than like clubs do, and like like it's like Milan is like loaded with players, but what gets like certain people like interested for me, like it's like when you're watching Serie A, like I'm not sure how they would broadcast it over there. They would have the big games over here, right? And like, it kind of was more difficult to watch like some of the other teams. But like when it's like the big teams, like like Milan has everything. There's always like something that draws you to a team. I don't know. It was just always something about Milan and the color. Like I was telling this the other day on the podcast of I'm not sure if I said it to Matt on or off air, but my first kit that I ever got, and I never wore it, was an R9 Inter kit. And it was just something like the Green Goblin's mask is like talking to him. Whatever the opposite was with the Inter kit was like, I was like, I don't like that. Something about it I don't like. And I had a Totti kit too, because obviously my whole family Romanisti. Yeah. So I'm just like, I don't like that either. And it was just something about like Milan all the time. And
it's the red and black. It's so nice. It is.
It is, but it's just, I don't know. There's just, Adriano, I'm not sure what did it for you, but like there's sometimes it just sucks you in. And sometimes you make a good choice, like I did, or you could be a Jets fan, which
you also are.
and my father is a Steelers fan, and the Jets were playing the Steelers in the playoffs. This was not the one in high school. The Doug O'Brien missed like 3 or 4 kicks. I was like, I like the Jets. He's like, don't pick the Jets. Like, this is what happens. And I was like, no, I like them. Part of it is because Curtis Martino. It's the same reason why I also like the Devils, because of Martin Brodeur. That's it. They're not good reasons, but it just like like you get drawn in and sucked to something. And I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but it's just
at least you have the Celtics. Right. At least you have the Celtics.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not complaining. I have much better sports fandom than most people. It's just the 2 teams I probably care about most suck. They suck. Milan, like a lot of people don't know, Milan's like 3rd in the pecking order for me. I just don't tweet about like the other teams.
Wow.
Milan, it's great, and it's also like sort of. I'm not sure if you guys. I know you guys like other sports teams, but when you see the one team that always wins and had so much success, like I could wait on Milan. Like I'm pissed. I don't want to wait. But like I could wait. Like if you told me if I had a choice of like
the Mets, I think for you that you really want.
Listen. I am in a household full of Yankees fans. Like it's literally like if you grow up in a family full of Juventini, and you're just a Napoli fan or a Lazio fan, or literally Torino. You could say Torino in the same city, and they're just nothing in comparison. Like you're just rooting for that. Like to me, that's just like the trials and tribute. That's why like the 19th title was so sweet, because you waited so long. It was so brutal. It was way better than 2010-11, because it felt like 2010-11 was like a standard. It was like, this is what it should be.
We went through the banter, Martino. We went through that banter 10 years. It was 10 long years, my friend.
Bro, that was a very. And then you guys almost got clipped by like FIFA Fair Play. I think it was it 2016, 2017?
I don't even want to remember anymore.
2017. The clock started because they made it back into the Europe, and then that's why like Como really hasn't had issues, because they haven't qualified for European competition yet. This whole bullshit system.
Well, they also have crazy money too, right? So, but
what was the last question? Was that the last question?
No. My last question was essentially about like we were talking about the finances and Cardinale's recent comments and stuff, and talking about basically shitting on like Lecce and Cagliari when Lecce has Camarda. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
the guy's an idiot.
It was the quotes are like I listened to the podcast because someone was like, they're like they're all over the place, like with this, like Cardinale is actually like defending what Cardinale was essentially saying, right? He's talking to, when Cardinale speaks publicly, aside from like the podcast where we had Kush on and Kush spoke to him one-on-one, when Jerry makes comments publicly, he does it at a lot of business conferences and like stuff of like, hey, Jerry, how's Italian football been for you? Are you doing well? Is it he admits to it, like on how like he messed up PR wise and all these kind of things. So I'll give him some credit his way for that. Essentially what he was saying was, they're competing against the Premier League. Everybody's competing against the Premier League, right? That's why the Super League was created, because financially, to bridge the gap, you have to do that. And UEFA is withholding all these money from clubs because they basically get 50% of the revenue. But what do? Basically nothing but slap their name on the front of the stuff. But his point was, we have a very competitive league in Serie A where 20th place can be first place. Like he gave the example of Milan can lose to Pisa. It really just happened, but he recorded that earlier. And he was just essentially talking about, distributors only want the best. So when you hear that, you're like, okay, distributors, meaning the media companies who buy the rights for these leagues. Okay, Paramount, DAZN, whatever you watch over here in the Americas. And he basically was saying, like, Corriere Lecce, like, that's pretty good. Like, a matchup is essentially what he was saying. But when he is speaking from the perspective of the distributors, he's saying the distributors are saying this is not a good product. And when he uses them as an example, you're essentially taking shots at those two clubs. For me, I think that's how it comes across. And people are telling me, and they disagreed. They said my interpretation of it was off, and they disagreed with it. But when you listen to those sort of things, Jerry doesn't have to list two teams specifically. He could say a matchup in Italy. He specifically chose two lesser sides that very clearly don't have interest globally, and especially over here in the States and Canada. And you think to yourself, well, he's basically almost in an indirect way agreeing with the distributors, saying like this isn't fair. Like I get it, and again, he kind of contradicts himself too in this interview, because he's like, I love what PSG have done, and well, first he ventures to say I should have never called myself Berlusconi 2.0, because what Berlusconi did in the 80s and the 90s, and basically his entire tenure at Milan,
Banga.
to the end.
Bunga,
He was God. He was God. Berlusconi, he really did change a lot of what happened in modern football and spending. There was no denying it.
Yeah.
But like in George Steinbrenner with the Yankees, the Yankees would buy everyone, for anyone who doesn't know. So like when he's saying, he's like, yeah, that's just irrepeatable. You can't do it. You have to go up against state-owned teams, like all these like oligarchs, all this sort of stuff. So he's like, I know that's impossible. And then he goes on to proceed to give PSG their flowers. He's like, they're carrying their weight in Ligue 1. Everyone else can't do their job. Why do you think they're carrying their weight? Because they get away with everything. They spend more money than God. They didn't have any money when they first came out. Like financial fair play gets introduced. Who gets screwed? Inter Milan gets screwed, right? When that first happens. Who gets away with it? City can spend all the money they want. PSG spend all the money. And if people make the arguments of like these leagues have no money, what money does Ligue 1 have? They sold it to a delivery driving service industry. They sold the Uber Eats League, McDonald's League, whatever they call it. They don't have money either. But somehow, some way, PSG, who never had that strong of a fan base, the club was created in the 70s. My father is older than the club. That's insane. Somehow they have this huge base worldwide, globally.
Yeah.
They could spend all this money. And we knew they were lying about it because of who sponsors them, where the money is coming from. And we have to sit there seeing how big Milan are, how big Inter are, and they can't spend money. The second that there's like a slip up in the financials, and listen, I'm not saying Milan shouldn't have been punished, but I'm saying where are the rules and the consistency in it? Yeah. And I just think when the owner makes comments like that, it's just irritating because it's just tone deaf to me.
Yeah,
he understands business very well, but like it just, you have to understand the beast that you're getting into. And he was essentially saying like SerieA needs more help. We have a good product. To a degree. And he was essentially saying like, we need to sell better to distributors, or distributors need to understand what the product is. And like, it's all back and forth. And funnily enough, Redbird was one of the companies that helped invest to buy Paramount. And who does Paramount have the rights to? SerieA.
Our great league.
Yeah. I think just one last little thing to add to your comments. I feel like as if it seems like financial fair play was just kind of a sense to like kneecap basically Italian calcio, like a Serie A, because it's like it's just Serie A for a while was dominating. Just international competition was dominating the world of football. Then Real Madrid comes along to make Galacticos, and they start competing as well. But like even like well, let's say but even but but even like La Liga wasn't overall as a league fighting with Serie A. Like it was like you had Real, you had Barca, and then
there isn't a more difficult country to deal with bureaucracy wise
than Italy.
In Italy.
Italy's they're kneecapping themselves, and FIFA's kneecapping them.
Yeah, they're getting. It's like one of those scenes where what was that show and movie where they make fun of the guy where he's beating himself up? It's like a ghost is hitting him. That's like what Serie A does to themselves. Italy is such a stupid country. Agreed. Like flat out. I'm sorry, it's just stupid.
No, right? But you're not wrong.
We
only an international team.
The three of us exist because that country's stupid, right? Like our parents don't meet each other if they didn't have to move. They're moronic there, and I say this to people all the time, and I'll kind of make it a final note because I've even gone over what I'm going to do. Put it this way: if you walk down the street in Rome and you see a fucking rock on the side of the road, they'll tell you they can't move that rock if it like would help the local citizens. If this rock was preventing a fire, right? Not preventing a fire, aiding a fire, right? You can't get to a fire hydrant because there's rocks in the road. But this rock is from ancient Rome, and they can't get rid of it because it's a part of their illustrious history thousands of years ago for people who have been dead forever. Okay? Put it in a fucking museum. Enough. Everywhere they talk about like Milan got to go build in San Donato. Oh, you can't because there's trees here that matter. So when do you give a shit? No, you're the only person who is speaking on this. You're 85 years old. How is it possible that we're in a country that everyone deems that the stadiums are behind, where we're lucky the only reason Milan and Inter are getting the stadium is because they lost the Champions League final. They're threatening to take away Milan as a city in the 2032 Euro. Because guess what? They're not up to code. They're antiquated. Everything that they do is behind. And it is so ironic to me because it's a country, forget about like the Roman Empire and all that shit. What about the Renaissance? When you literally realized you had to change your ways because things weren't what they were. And Italy is just stuck in the past. And I think part of it is that they're stuck in the past. And I also think there's a lot of very corrupt and shitty people in charge that are preventing things from getting done because we know what the influence is over there. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's poverty in certain areas. Where my mother is originally from, like you can't live there in Calabria. Like it is impossible to like. Do we understand that?
No.
Like,
my stepdad.
I know you guys know this better than I do.
I'm saying that's a very solid point you make because like I have friends that live here in Montreal now, but they're like people our age in early 20s, early 30s from Italy. Like I have Italians moving here to Canada, like our generation. This is not just we're not talking about our grandparents or our parents anymore. Like this is our generation that they're moving from Italy to Canada because they can't even have a life there anymore. Like one, it's not like as if these guys are doing construction jobs or whatever. Like one guy's a lawyer, another one's father runs like the father is a CEO of some kind of like athletics company type of thing. I don't know the details of that, but like it's so like his girlfriend has like a bachelor's degree in something. These are educated people.
Yeah, and that's rare. There's a little bit more rare in Italy.
My cousin's husband, right? My cousin in Toronto, her husband's from Milan itself. This man's got a science, like a university degree in chemistry. Like he couldn't find work and stuff in his field. This guy and what he's doing, he's working construction in Toronto, and he's making more bank making construction in Toronto than being like having a university level position in Italy. That's ridiculous.
Even rent in Milan is like crazy because when I went there for the first time, I live, for perspective for some people, I live a little bit north of New York City, very like wealthier area of the world, right? Like we know what New York is. New York is a bitch to afford to live in. Yes. Like it's really difficult. Yeah. Okay. Milan had rent on par with that. And I was like, what are we talking about? Like, and no disrespect to that city. Yeah. The rent is not justified for that city. To what you could like, come on. There's a bunch of crooks running that country, and every time we hear a court case or the proceedings, like all the appeal processes for San Siro that they have to go through just to okay it, even though the mayor finally does a 180 out of nowhere. Giuseppe Sala is like, yeah, honestly, yeah, let's get this done. And they do it immediately. Like, it's just like, you know what you were doing the entire time. You knew what you were doing. And it's just shitty. And the clubs get impacted by it. And how much did Juve benefit from it? And good for them that they had their own stadium. It was everything. It was exponential growth.
Atalanta,
It still is.
Atalanta's way they are today because they own their own stadium.
Yeah. I mean, they did it. They did it the long and hard way, and like the way that like football wants it to be done, like all that kind of stuff. Like it's just infuriating because like the era in which these clubs got so popular, and this is like final point because again, when these clubs all got popular, I talk to CVP about this all the time, and other people that I kind of work with in Calcio in the content area. And you guys do it too. You know the number. Like my highest view videos are talking about like Malik Chow and like his tenure at Newcastle right now. Why? Because the Premier League dominates. And the era in which Milan, Inter, and Serie A started sucking was when everything took off socially. And we're sitting here still struggling
Playing
to get
catch
a
up.
stadium built.
No.
It's insane. It's stupid. And we're just shooting ourselves in the foot, hoping it changes. And they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Same stupid people in charge, same people with, and it's not even just FIGC. It's the local governments, the municipalities, the bureaucrats. Like Napoli even struggle to build something. And you know what's funnier? Over in Europe, the owners fund this shit. I'm not sure about Canada, but like when there's something to be built over here in the States, the public pays for it. It's taxpayer money that goes.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So like that is technically more difficult. These guys are like, no, you get nothing out of your pocket. We'll fund it. And they're still like, no.
Make it make sense.
What else do I have to say to them? Yeah. There's something obviously fishy with them in general. So.
Well, listen, Martino, I think, I didn't know we were going to go in this lengths.
I mean, I knew because we like to ramble, but.
No, I knew that, but like.
Not that I don't hate it.
No, absolutely not. And listen, Martino, I know we can continue on this path for many more hours and many more days. Listen, we really do appreciate your time. I know we try to make this happen. Behind the scenes, it's always difficult to try to find a time and a place, but we managed to do it tonight. Now, we managed to do it tonight. So again, we really do appreciate your time. Me and Jenny will probably still stick on maybe to talk some Serie A after, but just before to leave on a bit more of a positive note, Martino, again, just for anybody that is, I guess, living under a rock or who wants to be anti-Milan, you do some great work, you and Matt, with your show. If just plug away, my friend, all the socials and anything you want to plug.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words. I always love you guys and all the work that you put in. A lot of people kind of don't understand it, like, because I know what you guys do. Like, this isn't like, I'm in the media industry, so it's a little bit easier to kind of like be flexible with my time. Like, I see you guys putting up shit every week in Serie A match day. Who's going to win? Who's the polls? Like, it's a lot of work. So, like, I always greatly
respect all Adriano.
Yeah, I know he does. Yeah, because he is the big graphics guy. So I know that. So like, you guys,
Nick too. I got to shout out Nick for at least the posting some and whatever. But we appreciate the kind words.
Of course, but like, you guys are all great, and it's just good stuff. It's like it's difficult because you don't have like a lot of Italian Americans that are super interested in like this stuff because it's different. They're different people. And you guys see it on the internet. So like it's always great to like chat with people like you guys, and it's just always a lot of fun. So I appreciate the support and the kind words. As far as the other stuff go, if you do enjoy Milan content and just listening to more of that stuff, specifically that Milan podcast is what our name is. It's one of the worst names possible because I'm not very creative like that. But again, the YouTube channel is just my name at Martino Puccio, also Spotify, Apple. We have the social media accounts where we post all the time, all the short form videos and stuff like that. I'm sure you'll see the clips from this episode there when they're done. So, I appreciate it. We'll have to get you guys on soon. I have more time now to finally like talk to people normally.
You know where to find us.
I think you need it too. Like, I think you need to like.
I do, bro. Like, just a lot of people just didn't understand the job I had previously. It was awful. Like, in office 10 hours a day, like on weekends, couldn't really like watch games the way I wanted to, but now I have more of that free time because I'm free. So yeah.
Nice.
So again, you go check it out over there. And Matt is one of the best co-hosts and friends that you could ask for, just like a stand-up guy. We've been basically doing this since the Chinese takeover all those years ago.
It's already been that long, eh?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Exactly. So
the grind has been real.
The grind has been real. So we appreciate all the support because we don't stop. We keep that work rate. It's easy when Gattuso is your idol, one of your idols. It's just that guy. It's like a energizer bunny psychopath. Yeah, easy to do. But again, thank you guys so much, guys. And I went twice the time that I said I was able to. So this is on par for me.
Just I know that we knew, but just for that, again, Martino, we appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously.
Again, anybody who's listening, definitely give these guys a follow. Even you'll definitely probably see them on Instagram Reels. Martino, yes. I gotta credit you, bro. You come on every time after the result, your opinion. Those clips go out right away. You guys are really on the ball. So again, I guess that's because of your free time now that we know the secret.
Dude, I would go find a place at work and like go find like a enclosed sound place to just do the video, and I don't think anybody knew what I was doing. So that's awesome. Because it sounds stupid, and the final thing I'll say is that like I think it matters to consistently put out that work and show that like people speak about Milan or just any Serie A clubs in English on a consistent basis, because people do care. This is one of the greatest leagues in the world. And, I think it deserves its flowers, and, talking about it as often as I can is something that I've always wanted to do and continue to do, because you never know if you could turn someone into a fan that has never tuned in before, because there's still a lot of talent there. And I still think that they could right the ship if they stop being stupid. I've said this for many years now, so I don't know if it'll change, but I will never give up on Serie A. I think it is too historical and great and unique of a league to be in the position that it's in. I think there will be better days ahead. It just depends when. Thank you guys so much again. And anything else I could ever do, always tag me in the stuff. And you guys are great.
You're great too, Martino.
Listen, it's very much mutual. And guys, go follow them. That Milan podcast. Martino personally, Matt personally as well. Again, I mean, even if you're not a Milan fan, I always say this with fan or club specific content creators. Me personally, like, I encourage people to go, even if you're not a Milan fan, even if you're not a Napoli fan, even if you're not a Juve fan, an Inter fan, go watch, go listen, go see what they're putting out there, just for a different perspective.
There's a lot of good people, though. Too.
There's a lot of good people.
They're like very nice people.
Exactly.
Like we all come from similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like I have one of my Zios is a Lazio fan. The rest of my family Roma fans. We have Inter fans in the family. This is it's what it is at the end of the day. So you can't forget that too much, because we all know who we support come summertime, even though we really don't want to sometimes, but we do all support the Azzurri for the most part. So definitely go and help those people out, because, rising tide carries all ships. So be sure to help those people out because they're good.
Interviewed and said it better myself. So guys, go follow them. For us, like we say every week, at the Calcio guys on all socials. It's very, very simple. And it really goes a long way. A follow, a like, a comment, some support. Guys, go follow your local content creator, I guess I can say. But for us, like I said, at the Calcio guys on all socials, audio version of the pod on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Again, rate with 5 stars, all that good stuff. And for any YouTube content, video content, subscribe on YouTube, post notifications there too, comment, share, all that good stuff. And we'll probably wrap up this. I don't know, Johnny, if we're gonna talk SerieA after, but we'll see. But nevertheless, we'll be back next week to talk a lot more Calcio. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Ciao.
Ciao.